Hey, welcome back to Zombie Tactics. It's been looking like the Olight channel around here lately a little bit, and that's because Olight has come out with a number of new products, and they've asked me to review them. Olight, in this case, I'm taking a look at the HS2 head-mounted lamp, or headlamp, or I don't know what you want to call it, jogger light, camp light, something like that. And it is kind of a unique product, as are a lot of the things coming out from Olight lately. They fill really interesting little niches and have really a well-thought-out feature set. This is no different. We'll get right to the tabletop and we'll get into these features right away. So here's the box, and what's inside the box, just as important, if not more important. Let's point out some of the features. 5-year warranty on Olight products. This product puts out up to 400 lumens. It's a model HS2. It's rechargeable. Something that confuses me. I want to talk about this right on the packaging right off the bat. If you look here, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. This shows that it has a maximum output of 400 lumens and a minimum output of 50 lumens. I was a little confused about this, and I'm going to have to show you how this works actually on the product, because there are not just 2 modes. There are basically 4 or 6 modes, depending upon how you look at it. And it kind of took me going through the manual a little bit to kind of figure this out. I thought the package was a little bit confusing in that sense, but what the heck, it turns out to be pretty decent anyway. It's got reasonable shock resistance, 1 meter drop capability, IPX4 waterproof. Let me contextualize that. That's probably not enough to be in a torrential downpour, but it's certainly good enough for a light rain, or if you dropped it in a shallow puddle and you know, wiped it off real quick. So, you know, they have this as kind of the jogger and the somebody up in the snow running around there. That's pretty good for that use. I wouldn't put it in really heavy hurricane winds, torrential downpour type of a situation. That's how I'd probably put that. So let's get into the product. Let me open that up. One of the nice things is it does come with your handy carrying case with the trendy blue Olight accents. Inside the case, you get the light itself. You get a couple of extra clips that go on the headband. These are for making sure that the wires stay out of the way. And you get an owner's manual, and you get a USB charging cable. Right off the bat, again, you know what a big fan I am of USB charging. That is a really big deal. I think that everything ought to be USB charged if it's at all possible electronically to make it work, and especially in the cases of flashlights. So this is one of the reasons why I really like the Olight brand lately. They've really embraced that whole theory, what I call the USB preppers ecosystem, and I think it's just a really cool idea. Let's go to the product and show you a little bit how it operates. So let's get into the HS2 itself. It is a single strap head-mounted light, very thin, very light, easy to wear this and forget that you have it on. There's a battery pack at the rear of your head when you're wearing it, and it has like a little curved mount for comfort's sake, and that's also padded. While we're at it, the battery pack has a USB charging port on it. That's handy. You know how I like that, because you can charge it everywhere. And there is a charging indicator on the battery pack that indicates in 1 to 4 LEDs whether the thing is fully charged, of course. 4 LEDs being fully charged. Going around the front here, you'll find that we have little clips. There are extra ones of these included that guide the wiring around the outside so that it's not flapping all over the place. A power switch here, and the light itself. Here's how this works, and here's kind of where I got confused about the power modes. If you take a look up really closely here, and I hope this comes off on camera, yeah, it kind of does. One of these is very diffuse. You can see that kind of looks like it's a little different color. This is actually a diffused emitter on here, and that puts out a diffuse pattern of light, spreads out better. The other one that looks kind of greenish here on camera is actually a much more tightly focused emitter, and I'll kind of get to showing you that in a little bit. But here's kind of how this breaks down. If you turn, and I'm not going to point it right at the camera because this thing will just bloom the lens right out. If you turn it on once, you hit the button once, it turns on. It will by default turn on to the full power mode, which is both emitters at full power. Both emitters at full power. Each one puts out 200 lumens of light, so of course 400 altogether. If you hit the button again in whatever mode you're in, it will turn it down to 1/4 of that. So since we started with both emitters on, 1/4 of 400, of course, is 100, right? You hold it down, and the light will just dim out and go off. So let's start again at the full power mode, which is what it comes on by default, which I kind of like. And you have another feature here, and that is, can you turn on by double-clicking one emitter, which in this case is the more diffuse emitter, or you click it again, and the more focused emitter comes on. You really can't see that effect. I'll show it to you in a bit here. So each of these emitters is 200 lumens in strength at full power, okay? You click it again, and it goes down to 1/4 of that. What's 1/4? That's 50 lumens. That's where you get that 18-hour 50 lumens figure from, because you can either be in one emitter or the other at 50 lumens, and it will last for 18 hours. And at full power, if I turn both emitters on to full power, this is going to be about 2 hours and 15 minutes at full power at 400 lumens. So that's where that comes from. If you add up all the different modes that you've got together, you have a 400 lumen mode with everything going. You've got a couple of different 200 lumen modes, and you've got a 100 lumen mode and a 50 lumen mode. It's not exactly the same as what the packaging shows on the outside. That kind of makes it look like you've only got 2 modes of operation. So keep in mind that it's a little bit more flexible than you might think. Also, if you do hit the button triple tap 3 times in rapid succession, beep, 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 you now go into SOS mode, which is the typical 3 short flashes, 3 long flashes, 3 short flashes for SOS, and then it will repeat that pattern. For those of us that know Morse code, that's did-it, dot, 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 did-it, that's SOS spelled out, which is, of course, why it's called the SOS mode. So you got that going for you, which is nice. I did want to demonstrate the lighting patterns a little bit. This is not intended to show you how much light is put out, because there's always a problem with cameras and how the aperture likes to auto set itself to whatever the brightness is. I'm only about 2-3 feet away from this wall. This is the emitters, both of them on at the same time at full power mode. If I dim it, you'll notice it kind of goes down, and then it almost seems like it comes back again. Where it seems like it's coming back up, that's the camera adjusting for the lack of output of light. If I click it to one emitter, it's diffuse. If I click it to the other emitter, it's a much more tightly focused pattern. And of course, on both of these, I have both a bright mode and a soft mode. We'll click back over to the diffuse emitter only. And we have a bright mode and a lower mode. So that gives you some idea how these two emitters work together. If you did use them in while running down the road or something like that, if this was a jogging lamp for you, I would recommend, for the most part, leaving it in both emitters on at the same time. That'll give you a combination of a pretty bright spot in front of you with a good diffuse pattern from side to side, so you can kind of make sure that you're not going to run into anything, or that there's not something off to the side of the road that might come out and get you. So, final thoughts on the HS2. It comes well packaged. It's got a great feature set. It puts out a good amount of light. It's especially light. You can have this thing on your head and forget it's there, which is either a feature or a problem depending upon how you're looking at it. I will say this about it. It's a little different than some of the Olight products that I've seen, as unlike most of their stuff, at least the stuff that I've reviewed, is some kind of aircraft grade aluminum or high grade aluminum, a metal product. Almost everything on this is plastic. So I would not expect this to be the same kind of reliability as some of the other products have, where you can pretty much run over with a car and they'll keep on running. Nonetheless, it does seem to be a high-grade PVC or ABS plastic. I have dropped it a few times. It keeps on going. I'm not going to submit this to extreme abuse, because it doesn't seem to be that kind of product that's designed for an extreme abuse situation. For that reason, I would recommend this, if we want to put it this way, mostly for civilian use. I would not say that this is something that would necessarily be used by a police officer, someone in the military, something that is seeing an awful lot of hard use and getting kicked around. I would choose a different product for that, either from Olight or from some other manufacturer. I would want something that was metal and a little tougher. But this is perfect for everyday use on the part of civilians, for camping, for light hiking, anything like that. I think it's a great device for that. It's the Olight HS2 headlamp. It gets the old Zombie Tactics stamp of approval. That's Zombie Tactics for today. As always, please hit like and subscribe. It does make a difference, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.